Hi, welcome back to Spiritual Healer. Today I want to talk a little bit about what I understand to be the difference between spirituality and religion. I do think there's a difference between the two, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experiences and how they helped me decide what the difference was. As a child, I always, remember going to church and sitting through Mass. We're Catholic. So you know, it's a mass for us, not a service or anything like that. And I remember sitting there and just looking around and listening to everything that was going on and listening to the homily, the readings, and the Gospels. And just always feeling like there was something else behind that. There was a piece that was missing, something that felt unanswered, something that just felt almost like it was an empty feeling. And I couldn't really quite understand what it was. I just figured, well, maybe I'm just not getting it. Maybe I'm not fully paying attention. I mean, who knows, right? I remember looking at the crucifixion of Jesus, which is in pretty much every Christian church you go to, and just thinking there has to be so much more than what we've come to understand. And just looking at that figure that was on the wall, just it felt like there was a whole other piece of the story that was missing. There was just something else that just didn't feel right, that we just didn't know. And it wasn't until I got older that I started to become a little bit more in tune to some of the clairs that I had, and maybe thought, well, maybe I'm just seeing things a little bit differently. In my mind, everybody kind of goes through the same thing, experiences the same thoughts, and come to find out that's not so much the case. Being clairaudient, clairvoyant, clairsentient, I tend to pick up on a lot of different things, understand things a little bit differently. And I think maybe that's why as a child I was always feeling like there was something that wasn't right. There was just something that wasn't being answered. A lot of questions that were left unanswered. And I think, the difference between spirituality and religion is that, religion is institutionalized learning. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. You are going to a place where, they are telling you that that's what this means. This is how this should be done. Here's what you should believe. Here's what you shouldn't believe. And here's why, all of this makes sense. But it's always somebody else's interpretation of it. It's how they interpreted the writings. It's how they're interpreting the words that are in the Bible. It's how they're interpreting, all of the different experiences that they've had. And I think, I feel like there with spirituality, that goes well beyond what you're being taught. It's something you have to learn. It's something that your body will evolve into when you're ready. It's not, I think you can maybe start the ball rolling by maybe questioning some things, or maybe asking, well, what really is there behind this? Like, why did this happen that way? Why did this situation happen that way? And allow yourself to be free to explore without the confines of what's right and wrong. Growing up, you being Catholic, you're told, you can't do certain things. You have to eat meat on Fridays during Lent, or you can't use birth control, or there's like different things that every religion has. Some religions, Christian religions, say you can't have anything that's brewed. So I guess like no coffee or tea. There's other religions that are Christian denominations that say you shouldn't have alcohol. You can't have alcohol. There are some that say you can't have alcohol and have anything brewed, which always kind of never made sense to me, because there's a lot of talk about wine and stuff like that in the Bible, and the Catholic Church, that is part of the communion process. So why would one religion say it's okay to have alcohol? Wine's essentially alcohol. It's not liquor, but it's alcohol. And why does another religion say you can't have that? And then you have a lot of these other denominations, they claim to have people that are prophets, but who label them as a prophet beside themselves, but they have a following. And again, you're getting even deeper into what's institutionalized and what you should be learning, what they want you to learn versus what you really should be learning. And there's a huge difference. And I noticed that once I started to explore the differences that I was feeling and try to get certain answers, I noticed that an entire world that I'd never experienced before started to open up. It's okay to challenge something that you've heard or something you've been told for your own personal growth, for your own benefit. I mean, why wouldn't we want to challenge something that we were told? It's and in my mind, certain going into an institutionalized learning facility, they're teaching you how you should think, what you should know, and how you should react. And unfortunately, my perception of going to a church of some sort or a gathering is doing just that. It's not allowing you to be a free thinker or experience what this entire world has to offer. The universe has a lot of stuff out there for us that we can tap into that we're told we really shouldn't because it's the work of the devil or whatever type of demons or whatever it is they want to account it to. Even somebody like me would be considered by certain religions to be evil because I do have different clairs, But if you look at it like this, we're always told from the time we were little that we have guardian angels, right? That we have something watching over us to help us. Well, if that's the case, then we should be free to communicate and talk to them and ask them for help and guidance, along with praying to God or however it is that you communicate what it is you need help with, right? To whomever you're going to communicate it to. So exploring that spiritual part, becoming more in tune to your spirit guides, your guardian angels, however you want to refer to them, ancestors, God. Every religion has a God, but I feel like it's all the same. It's just we have a different way of understanding it. So I think there is only one true power that all of the other religions and those denominations within those religions are looking to for guidance and help. But I think each area culturally has a different way of understanding and what they perceive to be that God. That's just my opinion. I also feel that with spirituality, you become more in tune to the universe and what the universe is trying to tell you. And, everybody, if you've watched a lot of these videos, or you've been on this little journey yourself of awakening or ascension, or just for curiosity, you'll hear a lot of talk about ascension and energy and vibrations and all this. Once you begin to become a little bit more aware of what's behind the curtain, what's behind the veil, your consciousness will change. You will start to see things. That's where the angel numbers start to come into play. Because the more aware you are of what's going on around you, the more aware you are that something is trying to communicate with you, the more signs they're going to give you. And that's what spirituality is, I believe, is going way beyond what we were taught and maybe challenging some of that, saying, well, none of all this makes sense. There are some contradictions here. Why is that? Let me just kind of go explore this for myself. And once I started doing that, I view the world completely different. I view situations differently. I approach situations differently. There are certain people that you kind of start to see through things. You'll see through certain types of organizations or certain types of agencies. You realize they're not really here to help you, that we were just being told that we were just being told we had to follow the status quo. And once you start to challenge that way beyond what you were taught, then you'll start to see things very differently. You'll experience things differently, and you'll start to notice that you'll attract a lot of people that are a little bit more in tune with you just naturally. So spirituality for me has allowed me to have a very close relationship with my spirit guides, my spirit team. One in particular, spirit guide Mike, he just likes to be called Mike. That was the name that I saw when I saw the vision of him. That's what he told me he wanted to be called. And I do communicate with him every single day. To me, that's what's spiritual, right? That's what's spiritual. That's not something I ever was taught to do or told I could do. I was told that was idolizing, an entity other than God, and that was a sin. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like we were given these guides to help us. They're here to guide us, and we need to be able to lean on them. Sure, you can always pray to God. If you're a Christian, your God is Jesus, and if you're Muslim, it's Allah, and the monks have theirs, and then Buddhists have theirs, and there's always something else there. But I don't believe that idolatry is necessary as sin. And I think that's the difference between understanding like what religion has taught you, the educational part of religion, versus the real life edition, which to me is spirituality. I think spirituality is just more so the real life version of religion, like the everyday version. And some people are going to say, well, you should be living your life according to the Bible. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that it's okay to question some things that are in there, because not all of it makes sense. And it doesn't make sense because I don't understand it or because I'm not a theologian. It doesn't make sense for some of the reasons I said earlier. Why do some denominations of Christianity say you can't have alcohol, or drink anything brewed, but then yet in the Bible there's people drinking alcohol? So, and it's the same Bible essentially, right? That most Christian denominations are looking at. So there are things, and that's what made me start thinking that, okay, so if that's not right, then, I'm not even going to go into all of the differences that, like with astrology, and how you're not supposed to, it's a sin if you talk to a psychic, or it's a sin if you practice astrology, but different photos I've seen in the Vatican actually show that there are astrological symbols in the Vatican. So on different pictures that I've seen, so unless they were faked pictures, which I mean they very well could be, but I've seen too many of them for that. So I mean, who really knows, right? I mean, I've never been to that part of the Vatican, but if that truly is the case, that's just enough to get you to start thinking and saying, well, we're being told we can't do this or can't do that. Why? There's an entire world out there, and I think that a lot of times it is a moderate level of control, and there's a reason why the people attending church has declined over the last few years, and I think it's more and more people are starting to wake up and see that there's a lot of things out there that they haven't been experiencing or learning. And going back to my spirit guides, the one in particular that I communicate with just about every day, he's got a bit of a sense of humor at times, but knowing that I can get answers, quickly, and make sure I'm, is this the right thing I should be doing or not doing? It helps to know that, you get set on the right track, but you have to establish a relationship with them. Like they're always there for you. They're never going to abandon you or leave you, but they also have to know, and they'll know if you truly have faith in them or not. And they'll continue to keep nudging you until, you begin to see that, oh, maybe I should be doing this, or maybe I should be doing that, or I should have listened to that little voice in my head. And once you start to do that and you become more aware, things will change greatly for you. Things will get you will see things completely in a different way. And you will start to experience your daily life in a different way. And, a lot of times it keeps me on track too, because there's some times where I might overreact, and, I say, hey, did I overreact? And he's not, yeah, actually you did. You kind of were, overreacting in that situation. And sometimes it's no, I think you were right on. I think you handle that correctly. But it is an honest relationship, that I've forged with that one particular guide. And I think everybody should try to begin to explore a little bit of that and become more in tune with your spirit guides and understand that they are here to help us. And for me, that's the biggest difference between, the religious part of this journey and the spiritual part of this journey, is tapping into all those other resources that they don't really talk about. And, everybody can have an assumption as to why they don't. I think it's more or so to just kind of control a thought process, not even so much in a bad way. Maybe it's just they truly feel like that's the best way to go about the practice. But not everything is always, one person's way might not always be good for another person, or one experience is not always going to be the same for two different people. So I think I think it is okay to go ahead and if you feel like there is a difference, to go ahead and explore a little bit and see what's out there, and just small steps, and ask a lot of questions, do a lot of research. There's tons of meditations you can do to come in contact with your spirit guides. There's a lot of meditations you can do to help with your vibration and your consciousness, to help explore and expand your consciousness. Because once you go beyond this veil that we have in front of us, you'll understand, and it's hard to explain, but you'll understand how much better you will begin to experience life. So I don't know, there was a lot of information there. I don't know if I got it all out the way I wanted to, but feel free to drop your comments below. I will say one thing. If this isn't for you, it's fine. Just leave your comment or whatever. Just keep on going. It's not, if it's not for you, you're not ready to hear it yet. If it is something that you're interested in, then you're going to find hopefully some value out of it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, take it easy.